Who are these people?
I guess I was born with the curse of foresight, 'cause I knew Joe was only gonna represent the war side. And that said, I just came to fight. You can keep the ore flight. Save the surprise and the gasp when the shadow of the fascist have cast is on your doorstep in the glow of your porch light. And save the surprise when the grid goes down and we go underground to lick wounds in the gloom of a torchlight. While up in the sky, a blimp glides by with a sign like New Year's 2022. Brought to you jointly by Pfizer and Coors Light. While the centrists observe from a comfortable courtside, right in the thick of the action behind a partition. We're in a morbid position, in a plague of evictions, born a comorbid condition of the cancer of wealth. I fantasize that I cancel myself. Hands on your head, throw your best laid plans in the well. There are no more answers, questions go back on the shelf. All Joe's donors, a quick show of hands. How many of you sub to the Lockheed Martin Onlyfans? How many are loyalist patrons of the Raytheon Patreon? Occupy Iraq and send 1 million off into the great beyond. Cool yourself with a safety on. True to yourself in as much as you dutifully spew out a mucus of QAnon. But you can't convince me the Capitol wasn't surrendered with every intention of digging us deeper into this treacherous webbing of censorship, ebbing your speech and dissension so you can't hold Biden accountable, not in his mentions and not in the streets. Just know to the end that Joe will defend the elite. Joe won't embarrass McConnell, but Joe ain't embarrassed if all of your children are hungry and weak. Too hungry to speak, too hungry to stand, they just lie at his feet. Joe's fresh out of empathy, fresh out of policy, but he'd love to know, what was your favorite ice cream flavor to eat? Back when you used to eat. No, I guess the road isn't rocky for people who thought we were free. They'll believe what they read and Joe's here to lull them to sleep. Counting us down by the dozens, the culling of gullible sheep led to the slaughter by media tyrants and government thieves. These are the leeches who stubbornly suck where there's nothing to bleed. These are the tumors that force us to crawl on our knees. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08, and one was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08, and one was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. And that is Lockheed Martin Onlyfans.
Dude. I gotta mute my mic while I'm doing that because I'm like jamming along with it, and I want everybody to hear it. I'm sorry to make you laugh. You almost just spit your stuff out, I'm sure. But that's just incredible. My first question on that was it your house that was foreclosed in 08 and condemned in 16, or is that just like a fictional? Like I've always wondered, honestly.
Just for me, that was the like the 1-2 punch of when we started to spiral into collapse, like as a country. 08 being the recession,
Right.
When we really saw just how little of a shit they gave about us, how willing they were to let people just become, homeless in droves, and seeing the bubble burst, and then the swell of hope and then plummet of Obama for everyone that was hopeful with Obama. And then 2016, I mean, being 2016. So I just I just wanted to use those dates because to me those were just significant in kind of watermarks for our plummet. Like those are yeah, just a couple. If this was a collective house of a country, the foreclosure and then ultimate condemning to me, those fit. So
Right. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So we definitely had
a,
some.
a fun little a
Mhm.
fun little fact there. When I made that beat originally, I felt like it was too close to Convention, which is essentially the first song on this record that has the samples of Joe Biden saying, that's the secret, um, because it's almost the same tempo and that same kind of slow lumbering beat to it. But I loved it too much, and I was like, you know what? I like the idea of closing it out with something that's structured the same. So I opened it with a line that kind of worked off of it. The first line of this being, "I guess I was born with the curse of foresight." The first line of the other song is, "I guess in the end that it's just a crapshoot. Who denounces the true you versus who backs you?" And then right into Joe Biden again, just like almost every song on that record.
It is kind of like I hate you, Joe Biden.
Yeah, yeah.
In every way, shape,
So,
and form.
Who are these people?
Cynic, aha! But now I can't show the thing up on screen for some reason. Thing is missing.
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. Both bleed us so dry. My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say? So I try to sit down with my wife and watch TV, but I just see propaganda elevating the police in the simplest of sitcom banter, and tiny little altars full of offerings to corporate masters in every well-planned wide pan shot of the name brand stocking up the pantry. Pull back one long tracking shot out to the garage to the logo on the Camry. A nice tight shot of the Camry, close-up view of the Camry, slow pan up on the Camry, long slow zoom to the unmoving human who's up in the front with a tube pumping fumes to him straight from the back of the Camry. Ashamed he just could not provide for himself, let alone for his family. It's a blue pill mindset that spent 2020 making dance beats. I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines. I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. Both bleed us so dry. how ignorance is bliss, which explains why a lot of us are so fucking happy. Quick to take the trip for all its trappings, never one to ask what's up, what's going on, or God forbid what's happening. A lot of us would strap into the ride and spit right in the eye of the guy whose job it is to snap your fastening. But maybe we're all born with that capacity. Maybe each of us comes standard with humor, compassion, malice, and audacity. Some of us are blind to the system, but some see it fine and say this is how it has to be. Some of us can stare wide-eyed at a nationwide human catastrophe and only offer platitudes and recipes. And God, I wish that I could tell myself nothing's worth obsessing past my everyday necessities. I wish that I could cry fake news over anything that threatened me, tune out our abuses and consume a little levity. I wish that I could offer up my son a smoother destiny. I wish I had some better lessons for how best to answer questions for the things I've been perpetually questioning. But I'm too busy looking at our leaders, wondering what I might be missing from their messaging. I'm trying to find the reasoning to let 500,000 people meet an earlier reckoning. And even though I know the truth, it's hard to swallow something that's so literally sickening. Hope is ever dwindling, COVID ever beckoning. Winter slows your breathing, but your pulse is ever quickening. No, even though I know the truth, it's hard to keep listening. I'm done with my epiphany, my innocence is blistering. I like to think I'd taste the earth before I'd ever kiss the ring. Hard to speak the truth and harder still to keep listening. Sometimes I think I miss being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines. Couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. Think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. Both bleed us so dry.
Dude.
And that's Redpilled.
Just amazing. Yeah.
Who are these people?
Hello, somebody desperate. Hello, somebody gullible. Hello, anyone left who can swallow the bait who ain't already rocking a stomach full. Maybe they knew and they ate it the same because there's no other way to assure that their stomach's full. Maybe they just know that they love the taste, so they'll put it away by the shovelful. So hello to somebody trying to feed us the light blue shit like it tastes any different or makes any Democrat any less culpable. Hello to someone who couldn't be troubled to mention a march for the healthcare struggle and spent the day cozy with donors who matter, who keep your progressives all wealthy and comfortable. I recommend your protests be anything but peaceable and all your disobedience be decidedly uncivil. You don't need a permit to declare that you have principles. And love, it's only natural that seeing all these fascist assholes stacking up the Capitol would manifest in something loud and passionate and visceral. Keep it in your heart, because it's the only way we'll ever start to flesh out something livable. Maybe that was literal. Maybe our utopia is built from all the sinews of the moderates and liberals, salvaged when they broke their backs with NPR gymnastics, simultaneously hiding from the truth while sticking out their necks for pedophiles, Nazis, and the upper fucking echelon of World War criminals. But baby doll, it's not your fault. It's really all subliminal. They've sewn the propaganda into every thread of visuals, grown the propaganda off of truly noisome victuals. Rows of propaganda propagated out of ritual, straight into your ocular and straight out your occipital, straight up to the point you flip on everything that's pivotal. Any crucial aspect of survival for the middle class becomes that holy unicorn you ridicule and snicker at and praise each piece of legislature dancing round the borders of the looking glass. It's not truly possible to try and stop the suffering of people that you spend each waking moment simply looking past. Walking past a sobbing homeless family like, look at that. Bet they'd be in better shape if they'd have voted Democrat. Hello, somebody ignorant enough to still believe that there's some fundamental difference in the moral stance between the couple barrels that they're staring at. Like one's just got a slug, the other's loaded up with sarin gas. Both of them are pointed at your temple, and they're both equipped to make this breath your final gasp. So hello, somebody dense enough to split the hairs of which one is the kinder executioner with what will be their final task. Vote Nina, 24.
Who are these people?
And yeah, this is, I really love this piece. This is called Shepherd of Hopes. If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. But if you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry, it's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. Waiting for the shepherd that they tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece, it's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat, they don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, not me, us, as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day, and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm going to warn you once more before it's 2024, and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. Take a step back from the herd, and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity, and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form, and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark, and all is calm and peaceful, save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of rising dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leeching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. It's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along, because someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along, broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. Voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firing arm. The firing arm. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday, supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc. It was real touch and go there for a moment, but we
Hashtag Birdie 2024.
Who are these people?
Yeah, this is the grift. Last stand, and I came to deliver. I've been called a Clinton operative, a Russian, and a grifter. by libs awash in student debt and proud to be an intern, sucking up to pigs who will get a tax cut in the midterms. You cut the ties but never heal the wrist burns. Capitalist shackles wrap and penetrate like ringworms around the necks of those whose deaths will not affect the king's purse or the coffers of the company the king serves, who manufacture mandated tinctures, safety data hanging from a fixture, half a mile skyward, dangling from the rafters. My grift is sobbing till I'm cackling with laughter, so I guess I would have made a decent actor. I'd be great at crying on command until they cut plus 40 minutes after. When the director waves their hand, it ain't a rap, it's now a legal matter. My grift is weeping on a mic until I'm hacking up airstrike verses like it's bombs away and batter up, swinging on these bigots they keep killing us to fatten up. Kill the switch and eat the rich, I think they're finally fat enough. Grab your knife and fork, the world is yours, just say you've had enough. And if you're comfy, you can go ahead and laugh it up. You can tell me how the most important vote I'll ever cast is like the choosing of a bus, in that it might not take you anywhere you want, but no one can deny the fact the bus is now no longer where it was, and that's the kind of progress we should celebrate and trust. Spoken like a kid that never took a bus. Spoken like a piece of shit that used some cash to mask his stink and truly thinks he's one of us. Spoken like a terminally unserious person who equates our cries for rights to mixed up orders from a server. It paints a privileged picture of what you would label urgent, that the worst thing you've experienced in life has been the time your waiter accidentally brought a tray of gold-flake scallops when you clearly ordered gold-flaked urchin. And now you're storming out the restaurant and hopping in a Tesla you got 80 pounds of Tony Fauci merch in. It's best to place your bets on weaponizing the identity of every limp progressive claiming grassroots integrity. Policy is a slippery slope for all of its complexity, so flex your brave resistance with this Ilhan Omar NFT. Numbered one of only 723. And each depicts her valiantly championing a bill before she lays it at a donor's feet. And she can throw her hands up in the air with AOC and say, if only Nina Turner could have voted present too, that's why we need another seat. We need some more progressives we elect to only tweet, who live to serve Humana and their label of elective slapped on every patient's gravest needs. As every station plays the theme, that medical professionals agree on the effectiveness and safety of injections authorized for this emergency. And in other purely unrelated news, the profits of the ones who manufacture vaccines just increased by nearly 36 billion with a fucking B. Sometimes it feels like we're the only ones that see. Sometimes it feels like all of us are lost at sea. And every time we think we see an island on the tip of the horizon, it turns out to be another measure making sure we're kept within the watchful eye of murderous authority. So I guess my grift is crying for the future they denied us, where the people who would buy us are a mockable minority. And we are more than genomes under warranty. And we are more than serfs in constant quarantine. If I had a single breath left, I'd let the chorus scream, I denounce our leaders claiming none for all and more for me. That's the grift.
Who are these people?
This is off of an inauguration gift. This is called Beneath the Ice. When some people talk about a he, they mean Christ. When I talk about a he, then I really mean Biden. And when I say talk about, I really mean scream like I'm trapped beneath the ice. Scream like I woke up from a dream where the memory resurfaced that I voted for Obama twice. Then I saw the ballot flash before my eyes like the futures of a couple thousand Middle Eastern children that Obama wiped out via drone strike. Took them out early so he wouldn't have to wait until their wedding nights. And this had been the only man you lauded as a decent moral president until we decided W was fine. Decided he was not the man who whittled down our privacy or stuck us in a rack for the rest of time. Now we see him in a different light. And all it took to whitewash the shame of his war crimes was snuggling Obama's wife. Never mind our soldiers, they should know a measly fucking thank you, and discount at Applebee's is fair trade for PTSD and a life of lost sleep, just cuddling their trauma tight. Never mind a lost generation due to birth defects we buried in the soil, so Iraqi kids were born without a way to shut their eyes, or born with half their organs hanging out their sides. No, we won't try to fix them, but we'll doctor up the image of the man who firebombed them in the night. Cause fuck it, man, the Raytheon stock is out of sight. Who's got the time to do more for the poor outside when it's warmer in here and there's Dom on ice? And meanwhile, half a mile down your drinking glass, there fizzles out a disappearing middle class who never seems to surface. They just keep on taking water, but they never get to drown because they can't afford a service. So when I talk about a he, if I really mean Biden, I will scream it with the spite that lights a fire in my central nervous. I'll scream it like I'm one of many millions in your Perignon ice bucket, begging you for scraps, scratching out the surface. Who never seems to surface. Just keep on taking water and never get to drown, cause I can't afford a service. Begging you for scraps, scratching out the surface. Just begging you for scraps, scratching out the surface. Begging you for scraps, scratching out the surface. Just begging you for scraps, scratching out the surface. And that's Beneath the Ice.
Who are these people?
Well, domestication action. All right, so yeah, here we are. This is a song off of the spoken word version of a song off of the Virus called Domestication. Fuck, I need a cigarette, and I don't even smoke cigarettes. Quick to call a liberal illiterate, only child, real mild-mannered runt litter kid. Now, what if our response was deliberate? That our suffering was none of their concern till it aroused a corporate interest? The systematic culling of the poor in the most elaborate terms, mass murder in the simplest. And in such dark hours, the powers that be saw fit to pervert our movement to something more invalid, and kneecap the candidate standing up to fight for something genuine. And they made me watch them tear his fangs out, dig his spine out, core his soul out, curl him in their lap. And I am not intent on just forgiving that. Now that said, I will not be counted as a Democrat. The only thing worse than the leader of your movement suddenly assassinated is the same leader brutally neutered and then domesticated, and churning out the copy-pasted talking points of someone who should only be in the news due to an investigation, not to celebrate his backroom nomination, to stutter fuck his way through denials of a rape allegation, demonstrating plainly that he's not fit for team lead at Dairy Queen, let alone to lead a nation. And I'd like to think that every time Jill leaves him struggling to speak and parades him for the cameras when he's lost and he's weak, that she knows damn well what she's doing, and it's all payback for every intern he penetrated. In reality, I'm sure she's just a power-hungry monster driven only by her aspirations. And if Joe's got to rape a couple ladies, take a photo op, and grope their babies, that's just the means to the end of the whole equation. Maybe Jill masterminds the whole goddamned operation. But Barack's gonna shut real progress down with the second round of that old Obama obfuscation. He'll tell you don't get mad, vote, knowing he just gutted any hope of liberation. But we won't forget, Flint won't forget, and post-revolution, Flint will be our occupation. When we burn Wall Street without mercy or hesitation. And I'll say a few words as the first match burns, and I'll still be yelling hoarse at the ashes of the conflagration. For as fearlessly Pyrrhus as I am, Obama is Priam, and we will sing outside the Troy of his home, till our voices are all that he hears in the depths of his soul, and we'll say, fired up, ready to go, fired up, ready to go, because they made me watch them tear his fangs out, dig his spine out, core his soul out, and curl him in their lap. And I am not intent on just forgiving that. That's domestication.
Who are these people?
Liberals said, thank you, Obama, for life in the red. Thank you for DAP and a pat on the head. Thank you for saving the banks, as millions are drowning in their debt. Thank you for all of the fluff and the nothing you said. And thank you for proving we eat up identity politics. All of your policy better forgotten. Just tell us what books you read. Please tell us what record was top of your playlist turning wedding to Day of the Dead. What Quavo song went along on a heavy rotation when bombing Iraqis in bed? And when they told you that 90% of your kills were civilians, what Jill Scott chorus was stuck in your head? What put you at rest after such a long day of convincing a nation it wasn't so deeply misled? That you weren't just Reagan with new age media training who fed on our hopes like his daily bread, who preyed on the weak, and who was never unwilling to serve you a speech to remind you the middle class needed to bleed. And you helped us succeed if you learned to accept it, and better yet, learn how to laugh as they bled. And a round of applause, laughter erupts, mic gets dropped, it's the end of his set. The crowd once hungry are now unstunned from the glow of celebrity, which is impressive, especially since they're contented to sit and be civil while all of the donors are fed. They'll thin out the herd by 1 million a week if it gives the elite an illusion of peace. Like they're out of the path of the future we reap. Like they won't be debris in the wake of its tread. But the future is now, bathe in the sound, drown in the dread. Hide in the lounge, hire more guards at your gatehouse. Hire someone to come build you a safe house under your shed. Hide with your diamonds and files. The files you'll keep to yourself and the files you'll keep for the feds. Hide in the dark for a while and watch all their value regress. Watch all the worth of your wealth on this earth melt down in a pool with the rest of the cess. All the affluence left over after the worldly collapse of the affluent. After it's back to the dirt with the rights of your birth, privilege smirks and your unpaid taxes. Hashtag blessed. This has all been a nightmare. Capitalism was only a test. So you need not weep and you need not repeat what the liberals said. We will not be saved by people who say that the water is safe while they look in your face and they pantomime sips of lead. Honey, nobody's lifting us out of this mess. Honey, nobody's lifting us out of this mess. And that is Life in the Red.
Who are these people?
This is Town Hall. In these days of global disaster, all the money disappears with the fame. I'll say what I want, then burn my masters. And I suggest you do the same. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. laying down. Alright, I won't name names, so we won't call legal. We'll call him Bo Jiden, and he killed Glass-Steagall. He's on the trail, off the rails, profits over people. But I won't call him a Nazi, cause I haven't seen his eagle. But I have seen his equal, and he just left the White House. I've seen his equal, and she lost the fight twice now. I've seen the evil of a man who'd shake the hands of workers, knowing they've been slaving for a feeble wage and little purpose, all to keep afloat his bloated lifestyle. All to keep us focused on our phones in the meanwhile. If I'm a broken record, this has been a time trial, but I will not go quietly into the future I'm supposed to hand to my child. I will not politely hold my tongue when I see voters in the web of suppression. So I'm about to burn the list of things we shouldn't mention. Alzheimer's causes bouts of both confusion and aggression. Sentences that fall apart and paper-thin patience. Well, I have not spent the past 4 years practicing critiques only to need them for the next administration. And a part of me would love to vote for Trump to really stuff you Biden diatribe junkies who would tie me to a chair to watch him push out Bernie Sanders. Say he needs to just accept the loss, have your little celebration. Well, buddy, I don't know about you, but I've got too much love for this misguided nation. So I can't take another president who treats the world like he's a wealthy tourist, just too good to talk to all us Haitians. My only choice should not have to be trading one president who chews at the Achilles heel of race relations, who plays up all our prejudices, fears, and darkest motivations, for one who hands us over to the corporations like we've all been sex trafficked. And I wish that was exaggeration, but it's part nightmare, part fascination. It's mostly fascists saying we're a cushion generation, while they got the funding made to lift you out your station. While you miss your shift at your third job because you can't afford your medication. And now the pain of your mobility is tied into the need to keep afloat and keep your family just a side of devastation. And here's the catch to immunization. You might get to have a say in what they give your baby, but in 20 years your baby better be prepared to pay right through the nose to be inoculated. So don't you be surprised when all your insulin is confiscated, cause someone found a buyer who's prepared to hike the price up even higher. And if you land in a coma, just as well, because you're out the conversation. You're not around to stage a demonstration. You're not around to protest human rights being eliminated. You're not around to protest all these voters being silenced and intimidated. Maybe you can hear it in my intonation. The one man's revolution is another's renovation. One hand better wash the other or it's amputated. God, I hate to be so black and white, but gray has led us straight into the mist and now the lamp is faded. And I don't think that we have very long before the night is falling quicker than anticipated. Quicker than the stocks crashed, quicker than your IRA was withered and emaciated. So why obey the men who solved a crisis that they orchestrated? Why are we so pleased to see a corpse get up and speak that we ignored the way the corpse debated? That he spoke in fragmented misinformation, that he tried to make an honest man's mistake out of a fabrication, and that all the major networks eat it up and tolerate it. So whose side are they on if they can point it out in Trump but act like they don't see it in the man they want to call our savior? Who keeps paying you to do such sick, dishonest labor? Oh shit, we do? No shit, me too? Everything you buy will find a way to own or eat you? Companies that feed you fund agendas to defeat you? Strip your wits away, rip your wick away, ultimately put you in a place to have to loot to feed your kid today, then detain and beat you? How is such an obvious process not see-through? At least not without a UV light. This year we'll purge our liberties with zero end in sight. So if you can't cast a vote that gives you hope about our plight, if you pick up the pen but in your heart it isn't right, just think about the millions going hungry every night. And have the guts to write in Bernie, or have the guts to fight. Hear my words but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick so I'm laying down. Hear my words but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick so I'm laying down. down. Hear my words, there's no time to spare. We killed democracy, it's rotting in the square, and with its last breath it cursed the very air with the toxic miasma of class warfare. Convulsions were brief, it seized for a minute, then it ceased to fidget. It was just deep sleep in a citywide gibbet. A lot of sweet nothings like the rations we were given. A film crew followed them into the city limits to document the distribution. A little piece of human interest in the mass confusion. Just some nice shots of a clean white van. Neighbors helping neighbors with their clean white hands. Never mind the boxes being empty like the cans. And never mind a photo op that didn't feed a single man. And this is nothing you can blame on one single man or his supporting an immoral horde of sycophants. We set the stage, we wrote the play, we gave the man a script and highlighted every line he had to say. We're only in this boat because we chose to sail away. We didn't core out the decay, we let it spread. And then we watched the nation warp into the noxious dictatorship it is today. We made conditions perfect. It's almost like we want it this way. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Hear my words, but don't breathe the air. You and I needn't speak to share. I'm so sick of the waiting now. I feel sick, so I'm laying down. Laying down. And that's Town Hall.
Who are these people?
Off of the virus. This is Look Fat. Look fat, I don't work for you. I'm not sorry that my policies don't work for you. That sucks about your cough, but there's work to do. Gotta reopen the shop, gotta just push through. 2 jars of bleach, pick one you lose. 2 jars of bleach, which one do you choose? When neither gives a shit about you or shares your views or cares if you can't pay for food. Get a firm grip on the straps of your boots. Get a good look at the last of the fruit. Get your good book, cause you can't buy booze. Honey, take heart, cause the dead don't bruise. And so a bit about me. I don't believe in God, right? That said, I'll be praying on debate night. Joe can't speak right. See, you can call me petty, but I really want to see him bring a knife to the dogfight. Or each mutt stuffed a blunderbuss up into his canines. And they could pull right up alongside Joe in broad goddamn daylight and maul his broadside. Cause Joe's gonna fold up the sails and stick the cannons all out the wrong side. And I'm not saying he and only he solely represent the wrong side. I'm saying both parties work to keep us hogtied. And that we have been immobilized and fed upon steadily for such a long time that we're too weak to see that it could ever have been otherwise. Don't focus on our nominees' laundry list of rape accusals, focus on the other guys. Focus on the other side, focus on the Tiger King. Look, there's a firefly. Now what were you saying, Tara Reid? Oh, she's an actress, right? She was in a film called A Pattern of Unwanted Hugs and Touches from a Man That You Trusted, right? And in the end, when she finds out her boss was just another piece of shit, she felt betrayed and then disgusted, right? And he goes on to live his life, run for office, keep his wife, and nobody discussed it, right? Yeah, I've seen the film 100 fucking times. I've seen the film 100 fucking times. Now see, there's 2 jars of bleach on a table. You pick either one and you lose. 2 jars of bleach on a table. Go exercise your right to choose. And that is Look Fat.
Who are these people?
Because guess what? What has every major crime bill that's gotten this far been? A Democratic crime bill. A Democratic crime bill. That's the secret. A Democratic crime bill. A Democratic president wants 100,000 cops.
Now I guess in the end that it's just a crapshoot. Who denounces the true you versus who backs you? Knowing you would skin the poor to make a tracksuit. Knowing you'd begin a few wars if your overlords asked you. Knowing that the ink's not dry on the last few. And knowing that your voters aren't living in a goddamn vacuum. We see through you, Joe. We see past you. Joe, we know you only want to kick trans folks out the bathrooms. Spittle up some dreck about family values.
That's the secret.
Take away our weed and then say that we just need Valium. Joe Biden, patron saint of Big Pharma, knows no karma, and all of our media paints him as valiant. But I'm here to tell you the spirit of Biden exists in a cursed medallion that rose out of hell like smoke in the form of 1,000 stallions, a dead battalion, their eyes blood red with the lust for the violence of racial injustice.
That's the secret.
I come to bury Joe and burn a candle for Augustus. And it's maybe not a song you would dance to, but something of substance. Something in place that can warn you when liberals lie and they're looking you straight in the eye and they say you can trust us.
That's the secret.
I come to bury Joe and burn a candle for Augustus. Now maybe you didn't get what I meant. This is not a political event. It's the winter of our discontent. Half of us will not make rent. I might burn my masters just to keep warm. Big white lies. No silver lining under smoke gray skies. And all of the streets ran red, but the blood sure kept our feet warm. So vote for the wolf or the wolf in sheep form. Defund police before we're all deformed. Take our free speech, we could speak in the tongues of C4, cause our lungs need more to send us packing than tear gas thrown from the hands of fascists who kill their cams and take off their badges, all while Biden and Kamala fund our assassins and offer us nothing but platitudes. They'll tell us go out and vote and then clean up your attitudes. Well, Joe, fuck you to death and the donors you fed us to. Go out and vote and then clean up your attitudes.
A Democratic president wants 100,000 cops. A Democratic president wants to build 125,000 new prison cells. That's the secret.
Oh my god. That's the secret, huh?
Who are these people?
This is Sunday morning number 40. I wanted to put a milestone in there of how far out we were from the beginning of quarantine, from the beginning of COVID, and at the point we were about 40 weeks out, and so hence the name. All right. We're 40 Sunday mornings out from normal, and the world is not the same. You said you waited for a warning, but the warning never came. Don't shine a light in my face. See, Nancy's gonna cut you a check too late. 2 years after your funeral's paid, 2 years after the grave, she'll be a little stronger for all of those dollars she saved. Watching you wake, watching you cling to your family slipping away. Watch her do nothing but pray. Watch her condemn the Republicans, take them to lunch and then shrug it away. Watch us be outraged half of a day, then pick a new hero to face our leaders and think they could beat them. Playing a game they played since Pelosi had real human blood in her veins. They're all one and the same, sold off stocks and they all maintain how the risk was benign and the virus was tame. Flash forward and 40 Sunday mornings fade, 250,000 people in its wake, and a cruise ship sailed today. So motherfucker, don't shine a light in my face. Wait. We're 40 Sunday mornings out from normal and the world is not the same. You said you waited for warning, but the warning never came. Don't shine a light in my face. You said you waited for warning, but the warning never. And that's Sunday morning number 40.
I want to go. I'll finish it for you because everybody else wanted to.
Who are these people?
But yeah, here we go. Speaker of the House. I watched a man decide to stand up for us, then watch them take him away. So I hate to break down your respect for the process, but the process won't be safe. Hi, I'm Nancy. I love ice cream.
I enjoy it.
But not as much as watching people forced out of their homes.
I like it better than anything else.
Watching people forced out in the streets to live alone and knowing that I own every homeless set of bones.
I don't know why, but it seems to agree with me. I have a lot of energy.
And it's all more support from my hideous and ill-gotten throne. The weight of which is too much for you to bear alone, which is why you ended up threadbare alone, kicked off your benefits and left to your own. See, the diner that you worked at was told that it could open up its doors, but there's no clientele, and it's probably just as well because half of the staff didn't last, so they can't come to work anymore. You can't expect a corpse to pull itself through the door to flip omelets for $8 an hour anymore. Make your own food, clean your own floors, fake your own news, fill a whole morgue. Get a film crew out front, but don't let them in the doors. Let's keep it frontline heroes, America's soldiers, you know the score. Joe knows the score. I watched a man decide to stand up for us, then watch them take him away. So I hate to break down your respect for the process, but the process won't be safe. Now stop saying the election is so goddamn important. Start telling Joe he needs to rein in his supporters. Oh, that's right. Joe can't even rein in his tongue behind his resin molars. So pardon me for asking for some faculties from somebody vying to control us. I mean, the man is not quite yet speechless, but you can bet he's soulless. And if you thought he would stop the greatest threat that ever held a public office, then you might have been Joe's equal in the ignorance department. But I can guarantee you we will finish what we started, a rabid coalition of activists and politicians, sex workers, educators, artists, all of those who followed Bernie so close and who fell the farthest, who will not falter until all of us are cared for, regardless of whether it would turn a profit. Now, I am not a leader or a teacher or a prophet, but I am here to proudly say today is the day I start campaigning for the role of Speaker of the House that we will build from the bones of the old Congress. And when I say bones, I do not mean framework or stones. I mean literally bones of the old guard keeping us from progress. I mean tonight's the last dawn before things get their darkest. The calm before the storm, the calm before the harvest. I mean tonight's the last dawn before things get their darkest. I watched a man decide to stand up for us, then watched them take him away. So I hate to break down your respect for the process, but the process won't be saved. That's Speaker of the House.
Who are these people?
Wait, turns out I have something else to say. But words have let us all down. We are in the waste now. If we choose to lay down, let them bring our wage down. Nancy, once you face down, pray. If you find resilience in your faith, 'cause it's on all of us to lead the way. It takes all of us to lift the weight. We were told it's normal and required that we suffocate. Wait, 'cause I will not be carried to my grave in perfect health and perfectly awake. The earth is not the sweetest of escapes, but the surface is a merciless, purpose-sickened place. Don't stay. Tell him that he doesn't have to stay. Hold his hand and let him slip away. There is nothing here that's worth the wait. Nothing good is waiting in the wings. Don't stay. Oh, don't stay. All our lives just frozen in time, frozen in time. Only so much shown through the eyes, shown through the eyes. Just frozen in time, frozen in time.
Who are these people?
Yeah, this is played out off of the virus. Thought I'd make a difference, and before I knew the difference, I was played out. If thoughts and prayers would listen, we've been praying till we're blistered. Now we're prayed out. Heroes only get up in our way, say what they think you want to hear them say, till you wake up one day and they're played out. See, you can take your heart and your passion to the hall. You'll find too soon if you don't play ball, you're played out. The Senate won't get it, the stocks won't fall. They'll bounce right back like your check dissolves. I checked, the victrola of the record wasn't off, it was. Look at us, worldwide leader of verified cases. A beacon of bullshit, hailing itself as a case to be made for America's greatness. Worldwide leader of hastily dug mass graves for neglected patients. You know other world leaders can see us corralling our homeless out in the streets into cramped stations, just to coax a little growth out of rights violations, and to spin it into something a bit more eugenic that passes as policy. It doesn't seem to raise red flags at the old United Nations. And speaking of, folks, may I address you directly? See, our wellspring of hope is a month past empty, and all our voting has been tainted. You can look at the discrepancies. And I speak on behalf of a lot of us when I say rescue me. Send a coalition, please liberate our families. Come topple the regime that can feed all the banks and just leave us clamoring, scrambling for scraps while they lap dance lobbyists, cash them out and send them home with vouchers good for one future amnesty. Madam Speaker, have a seat. Would you take a moment to enlighten me and try to shed some light on why you opted to monopolize a tragedy? Grab a little capital like capital is all you see? God, how you even fall asleep when all you hear are the screams of the parents at their wits' end, knowing they're about to tell their child there's just no food to eat? Does it take a lot of ice cream to doze off and God knows how many Xanax to guarantee you don't dream? So you can wake well rested, start another day of just grinding the poor into chum to appease the machine. Well, we know you better, that you aren't really human, no matter how human you seem. No matter how human you seem. See, heroes only get up in our way, say what they think you want to hear them say, till you wake up one day and they're played out. Honey, you can take your heart and your passion to the hall. You will find too soon if you don't play ball, you're played out. God, the Senate won't get it and the stocks won't fall. They'll bounce right back like our checks dissolve. I checked, the victrola of the record wasn't off, it was. Thought I'd make a difference, and before I knew the difference, I was played out. If thoughts and prayers would listen, we've been praying till we're blistered. Now we're prayed out. And that's played out.
That's played out.
Who are these people?
This is called the Oil Baron Rescue Plan.
Hmm.
It couldn't have been me, sir. I was front row in my AOC t-shirt, foie gras sucking on a press release, sir. My head down, fourth shot, good little sheep, sir. Sit down, sweetie. The adults are gonna speak first. They trust the science and they're terrified of research. Here to thank our healthcare heroes they've been feeding to the burnout, feet first. Until suddenly they dip mid-shift, take a header off a bridge. Such a shame, they were really such a sweet nurse. Now they'll never get the card and the cold slice of pizza meant to thank them for their teamwork. Now they'll never get the baggie full of Chex Mix, which would be the one reward they'd see for all the moms they had to intubate, and countless cries of grief since we've been haunted by the specter of the C word. Now all the applause for our healthcare heroes rings a very hollow note because we played it out like Freebird. See, add the ones and zeros, and our fragile checks and balances are checks for all the wealthy who have such unholy talents that we think it's patriotic that we've all got zero balances. And re-elect Pelosi so she'll face our toughest challenges, which is analogous to water for a drowning man. Nancy disregards our impoverished with a spiteful and dismissive little waving of her withered hand, because 500,000 freezing on the streets is Biden's winter plan. And I bet you swore they told you you were voting for a different man. But really, all you wanted was a different man. It didn't make a fucking difference if he finishes the previous inhabitants' agenda and starts auctioning protected land. Biden's born to leap at any war a donor's check demands. And it turns out that you can't cure greed once it infects a man. Once they lose respect for human life and focus all their fucking efforts on the oil baron rescue plan. Honey, what are we to Hecuba or Hecuba to us that if she's starving, we should give a damn? Why should we be moved to tears if someone isn't eating? We won't even recognize that food is essential to our being. It's just us in fucking Israel who will not guarantee that food's a basic human right. Because starvation is our favorite tool of genocide disguised as sanctioned democratic healing. See, that's me in the corner, losing my religion, gouging out my eyes, and then dancing on the ceiling. And Jesus fucking Christ, what a feeling. That was my dryer, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
Perfect,
Well,
right on the buzzer.
nice.
Oh God, that was beautiful.
I was going to say that Lionel Richie would probably agree with you too, dancing on the ceiling, and we're going back to 80s and dating ourselves as Gen Xers.
Who are these people?
Are you
This
ready?
is for Colin's still here.
Colin
I
is
think Colin's
definitely
still
here. Colin's
So-
here.
You know, it's not like I didn't have thoughts about the Vanguard, but it just wasn't it didn't seem worth it. And there were bigger fish to fry, as it were. And then I saw them say something to Colin, like, you're a disgrace, you're not a real leftist, some blah, 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 blah. The kind of shit people say to people all the time. But I was like, that's different. That's our Colin, you know? That's a personal attack. So I started thinking about, you know, if I were to write a piece about the Vanguard, what would it be? And the thought I had the whole time was like, I know they're a bigger production, but it felt like punching down. It just felt like attacking something that was defenseless. And then I realized maybe the best way to do this is let's have the whole piece kind of take place in my head to some extent of me weighing the options of whether it's worth it or not. And then by the time we get to the end and I kind of decide that it's not, the damage has already been done. And I may or may not have cackled out loud when I had that eureka moment. So yeah.
I would lean towards the May, but just because I listened to you sing and you cackle in the middle of a song.
So yeah, this this was another very productive day at work where I wrote this one. So this is for the kids at the Vanguard. This is what serves as Vanguard. No intro, folks. I'm ripping in, opening my notes app like a vat of acid. Let's begin. Point me to the journalists I'm dipping in. Wait a minute. Holy shit. Something must be wrong. It's just a couple kids. Not a single wrinkle on their privileged skin. Couple of whiskers you can just make out through all the clout that's dribbling off their little chins. The Vanguard charge of a red rose strike force, mouths wide open as they charge into the hype wars. Now, usually I'd be obliged to take my time and savor every moment of the movie of me stretching out this two-piece till I eat it like a 5-course. Usually I'd lift them up and drop them 25 floors. Strip their image back, expose the eyesore. But it's sad to see the DSA make cattle of the prepubescent. It's sad to witness Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome-addled brains of adolescence. So maybe I should cut some slack and throw them back. Like once they're done maturing, they might guess the message. Maybe once they're all grown up, they'll learn their lesson. Maybe they'll look back a couple years from now and cringe just like I did the day I found those old Obama pins behind my dresser. Your Vanguard's just a couple drips, no ripples to be made. I guess if you carry water, you're an honorary blue wave. Defending our democracy like anything survived for you to save. So arbiters of good intention, tell us who is truly leftist. Let them wield identity like such a holy weapon, and let no one through the gate who's unordained. While you're both streaming live with boot receptacles agape, a couple overzealous paladins decrying bad faith, here to show Kalinsky you can fit your whole fist so his size 8 shoes ain't shit. Man, if that's what serves as Vanguard, then your army's got a lot to lose. Except for the respect of those who jump at shining Schumer's shoes. Those who treat the issues like a pleasant conversation that they're having on a dinner cruise. But never once in my whole life has punching up felt so much like it's child abuse. Like maybe I should save my scorn for those whose lobes are fully formed, who aren't just human moths that swarm the brightest clout to keep them warm. Maybe it's not worth the mess of mopping guppies off the floor, strike a nerve, then CPS comes knocking at my chamber door. So cut them loose. Wait it out an album cycle, maybe 4. If they didn't learn by then, I'll proceed with no remorse. Once they're just your average centrists, drumming up support for wars, ask you for receipts as they both cite a State Department source. See, the pipeline's pretty short from clueless faux progressive larva to the fragile centrist chrysalis where criticism's trauma, to spreading wide your liberal wings to shit on all the fauna as you host your weekly brunch and sit down chit-chat with Rokana. You'd both do well to heed my words and look me in the eyes. My words will spare you only once, I don't show mercy twice, and my lyrics aren't the kind of place where people leave alive, but I don't eat low-hanging fruit, leave it for the flies.
And I'd say mic drop
we have
on
fun
that
here.
I'd say that's a little bit of a mic drop.
Who are these people?
This is Union Drip.
All right. I came to be a prophet, but I'll settle for pariah. We filled the air with DDT and called the wind Mariah. We cheer on every victory in the war against Goliath. Watch them model Christian Smalls and pose him with Zendaya. They're gonna milk that Union Drip till the very last simp takes the very last sip. And when it's all wrung dry and it's not worth shit, then they'll leave it laying right where it is. You can watch them let it all drip into the ditch. Here's the sitch. Biden will invoke the witch of January 6 as a quick fix. Tell you that she's here to fill your bellies with some twigs and sticks, roxberries and a capital brick. Concurrently, he's finger-wagging all of the Republicans while sucking their proverbial dicks. Fluff them up a couple of concessions in the flick of a bic. Just need lights and a camera and prompter and someone to monitor the prompter who knows his shit. Joe's gonna open the show with a few short words to be chanted by old white folks wearing old white cloaks who will march in a circle around a progressive political star who is purely a place to spit. But it's all good fun, and there's no harm done when the banks yell cut and they're calling it quits. It's all Flint water gone under the bridge, out of sight, out of mind, and dissolved in the mist. Joe'll only need a flick of the wrist, and the throat of the movement is slit. It'll sputter and gurgle and choke for a bit, bleed out in a viral clip. And as the last of its life force flows to the floor, he'll say, "That's my idea of a Union Drip." See, the eyes are a glimpse of the soul. So it says a whole lot if they aren't exposed, and your message is branding you stamped on your clothes, and the media storm is wherever you go. Then you go meet Joe, and you laugh at his quips, and you shake his hand with a nice firm grip, and you cry good trouble through the loafers on your lips. Too true, that's a Union Drip. Who knew that the victory gift for your unionization's a DNC script, and it's nice and precise like a sniper who's trying to cripple you right where you live? The target they lead is your wallet. They seek to dismember your hands so you can't feed your family or pick up your kids. While they flatter themselves into orgasm, feigning respect for our unions, who wired our grids, who welded our ships, who died for our rights to not witness our children conscripted to 12-hour shifts in the mines from the time that they're 5, when they know damn well that the union had thrived till they shattered its hip. Showed up and handed out Pinkerton slips. Now it's as simple as status and symbol, and making the star of the movement so bright that the movement itself is eclipsed. Now our mouths grow dusty and dry on the promise of Union Drips that trickle down out of a wealthy fist that is squeezing the heart of the working class hard as it can till it finally ruptures and splits, punctures a valve, and it laughs at the sound of the squish. The way that they laugh at the sight of us making a wage slave's wish to a man on the cover of Vanity Fair saying, "Eat the rich." So this is for those who rely on commissions or toil for tips, watching their bosses drink bottles of profits while all you get offered are jugs of their piss. If you seek out the soul of the movement or proof that the movement exists, try looking in the eyes of Chris. And when you find that you can't, then the answer is as simple as this. The movement is never one single face, and a drip is a leak to repair or replace. We won't eat the rich to suit expensive tastes. We'll consume because survival's at stake.
Yeah.
That's Union Drip.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that. There's some really, yeah, I've never seen or heard that one. That was brand new to me. And
Yeah. I just finished that this afternoon.
wow.
Who are these people?
This is off my my little 50s doo-wop side project, the Geiger Age. This is called A Stroll Through the Ruins. Let's take a walk, provided radiation's low and the weather's good. We'll take a stroll through where there used to be a neighborhood. I host a clinic called The Finer Points of Settlerhood. Wish I could say it brings a crowd. Oh, baby doll, doomsday just about as well as you said it would. And God, I tried to love the bomb and I never could. There's such a heavy bomb and the humid air, rotted wood. Wish I could hear the smoke and show you cloud. The meek will get the earth, though the earth will be long dead. The meek will gladly take what we can get. And when we meet the earth, if there's no earth to be found, well, we'll just join the poison in the ground. No, no, the poison in the ground. The poison in the ground. Oh, the poison in the ground. Oh, the poison in the ground. Oh.
Who are these people?
I watch an awful lot of people shit on Susan Sarandon and blame her for everything under the sun. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a song where I'm blaming Susan for ludicrous things that obviously she couldn't be at fault for. And a whole bunch of people still thought I was being serious because people won't listen the whole way through something. I figured if I'm blaming her for wildfires and floods, that people have to know I'm kidding. But there is no nuance to be had on the old Bird app. And yeah, so here we go. This is for Susan. This is called How Could You, Susan? I remember well the golden age, 2015, feeling like the world would be okay. Till Susan came along, and just to suit her selfish needs, she went and tanked the Hillary campaign. So you can go thank Susan for those nightmare years of Trump. You can thank her when he wins in 24. And if I had the chance, I'd ask where she won't cancel debt. Oh, why she made inflation simply soar. I'd say, how could you, Susan, just throw us to the wolves? And why'd you let those wildfires burn? Oh, why'd you make Joe Biden take back every single promise he made back when he still had votes to earn? How could you condemn us to a ruling fascist hand? And how much did they pay you for your part in Putin's plan? How could you destroy us with such reckless, cold abandon, Mr. Andon? How could you?
I have almost all the lyrics in my head. I was singing along, like I've got almost all of them down. It's so good, so damn funny. It's great to see the look on somebody's face the first time they hear those words. Oh, you can't ever get that back. It's so good.
Who are these people?
All right, here we go. This is Militia Intent.
Can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you wouldn't listen to 50,000 dead? Now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. So why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me, because I will pick my targets and assassinate them lyrically. I will bring them out into the town square, hook them to the pillory and leave them there. And Hillary, I'll see you there. Nah, Hillary, I'll see you there. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your head. So why play civil when you listen to 100,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. So why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? Welcome to the fantasy of rhetoric. Honey, welcome to the last of the free speech while we can get it. And I promise you can get it. All you corporate Democrats and second wave Confederates, GOP illusionists and neo-Nazi bureaucrats. And Stephen fucking Miller, I will see you in the aftermath. When all the laws are dust, there's just moral justice after that. And I would hunt you through the wasteland if it comes to that. So I could rub you in the dirt like a cheap human Brillo pad. I could sleep fine if our beds are burning, Stephen, but I'll turn around and run into the blaze to get my pillow back. As long as I can lay my head down, I can live with that. I can deal with a little ash, 'cause I could feel like a little of the old me burn with the bad and the rest of my past. The old world where we all lived and we can't get back. The old world where you didn't give and you'd still get back. Where you could rake in 12 billion and give none back. Well, those days are behind us. The virus will kill all of that. Your wealth is behind us and kindness is meant for the past. Our leaders would bind us and starve us and call it a fast. A sacrament meant for their God that they garnish in cash. And they feed it the poor by the hundreds, that's all that it asks. Its hunger is legion and people in need are all it will have. Our only chance is to starve it and watch as it turns on them. You can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your head. Can keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your head.
Yeah, that's Militia Intent off the virus.
Who are these people?
So yeah, this is Apple Model 3 slave collar. Welcome to the future. Shit where you please. The Wi-Fi is great, but there's no more bees, so there's hardly any flowers. There are very few trees, and you'll pay $1,000 for some honey for your tea. But we got these awesome collars. Mine's an Apple Model 3. It allows for better movement than the Tesla X Elite, lets you customize the ads that it implants in every dream, and with a premium subscription doesn't shock you in your sleep. But it doesn't stop there. It can analyze your speech. If it hears disinformation, then it notifies police, and it's a swift re-education, but it knocks you off your feet like your booster every 7th week. I faced the future boldly, with 2 eager open eyes, and I picked a couple nuggets up that blew my fucking mind, like you can taxidermy someone while they're technically alive and they'll shine when it's election time. The Democratic voter base will pay them zero never mind if voting for the scarecrow is a vote along their party lines. They could stare into its marble eyes and claim there's something dignified. Unlike real politicians, this one doesn't need an oxygen or kid supply. But its function is the same as those who came before. The goals are never misaligned. It spends its working time performing pre-recorded fleecing sessions where it sugarcoats your slow and hungry genocide, while pouring billions into Nazi coffers, all the while selling you the story that we're moment till the MiGs arrive. So ask Zelensky if he'll help replace our leaded pipes. Watch a fleet of Penske's show with stacks of bills in every size. It only took a black sun and a couple hiles. Honorary goose step in Nazi boots a quarter mile, all while Biden sneers his sordid smile. I don't know what was in this morning's vial, but it makes him stare 1,000 yards through all the prompters and the cards like he can smell the nearest child. His eyes are wide and wild, wider than the grave in which another 1,000 families were tossed in as I typed till they rose up to the sky unceremoniously piled. Which flies into the face of all the network ticker tape where the American economy has superhuman vitals. I like to think my trial's gonna play like a recital. I'll denounce the world around me and accuse the most entitled, who weaponize their titles, whose poll is something title, and who'd starve us all to death to best delight their blighted idol. So they might destroy the record, and I'll never get to vinyl. So my word is not immortal, but it's final. And that is Apple Model 3 slave collar.
Who are these people?
Fresh off the mass is the brand new cancerous growth. Come here to vie for your vote. Come here to cry at the camps and to mourn at the shore for the bodies that float by the wreck of an immigrant boat. Then it's back to their luxury home, couple security booths and a moat. Couple cigars, little escargot, little booze and a soak. Breathe in the steam and the smoke. Pink salt, lavender, candles are low. When you do what you do, gotta lighten the load. Got a life of his own. It's a sight to behold. It's a lot to control. To decipher the code or to siphon the soul. See, the cost of a good night's sleep for the working elite is a bargain, no matter the toll. Worth any wager, and that comes straight from the mouth of the means to the goal. That swallows us whole. Ripe for the picking if you don't mind mold, and you know I don't. Maybe we're pleasantly prone. Maybe we're taking a licking, compliantly ticking and ticking and ticking, but never explode. Now I don't deliver the prettiest image, but damn if it isn't an accurate vision, a natural fission. of rage at the system, and abject heartbreak patiently waiting for any who will listen. That little blue bird who is watching your words is a federal carrier pigeon, a Langley first. It's a patient observer who hears what it wants and is trained for the worst. Oh, you got nothing to hide? Well, they'll be the ones to decide that after they root through your purse, after they read all your texts, after they raid your apartment, confiscate all of its contents, and conjure up evidence out of the air on a wing and a prayer and malicious intelligence nonsense. Any presumption of innocence gone right along with our comforts and constants. Now, historically, first they will come for the communists. So why in the fuck do I say I'm a communist? Well, it might be I love my community more than the monsters of opulence holding us hostage and vomiting promises. It might be I'm all done seeing our pensions and benefits harvested. Might be I'm all done watching the populace being disarmed in the guise of an armistice. Watching a woman collapse on the floor who will rise no more. She is wheeled out the door and you're next in line for the pharmacist. If you can get me to vote, it's a hard no confidence. Part of the charm of deception is politics wearing the mask of incompetence. It's all in the art of austerity, darling. It's all in the sleight of the providence. Till home is as wide as your cubicle height, and it's only as deep as your coffin is. Maybe I'm miles away from impatience and aching to break off the head of the snake where its capital lust and its reptile brain and its margin of profit is. Now off with his swish, drop of the guillotine, clean chop, pop goes the artery, arc across the treetops. Higher than the budget funding army gear for street cops. Workers of the world, hitchery stops. That's Depop Culture.